Hello and welcome to IT Security Labs. My name is Howard and today I'm going to show you how to set up Suricata Intrusion detection system in your own environment. This could be in your lab or in a small to medium business. I will just show you how easy it is to set it up, and also I'll show you what you can and the benefits of having it. Think about it this way. If you work for a small company and you just have a network of a bunch of devices, you need a way to know if an attacker is on the network. You need to know if any malicious activity, bad activities are happening on the network. So setting up an intrusion detection system becomes very, very critical for an infrastructure. So that's why we have this lab right here. If your goal is to learn cybersecurity and how security monitoring works, this is definitely going to be a wonderful video for you. And by the way, if you find value in this content, please consider subscribing and liking my video. This is a video number 5 in a series where I'm showing you how to set up a detection lab in a safe and secure way. You can use this to set up and monitor your own house to see what's going on in your home network. It could be a wonderful thing, or you can set this particular lab here in any small network with less than 500 users and you'll be able to implement it properly. Okay, so how do we set this up? Well, first let me show you what you will be able to see after you finish setting it up. As you can see here, in the past 3 hours, I've generated some alerts. The top line here is showing me the alerts based on severity. If it's red, that means these are critical alerts. I have 164 of those. I know I generated these alerts using Kali Linux in my lab, but if this was just my normal network, I'll be concerned and I would want to go and look at it right away. I have some critical alerts here. I have some warnings and 0 notices. Then I can see by category. As you can see here, the category in which the alerts were generated: targeted malicious stuff, corporate violation, unknown traffic. So this tells you by category. And as you will see here, you can filter by activity. So if I wanted to see what does it mean when it says there was an attempted information leak, if I click here, it will only show me the alerts that were triggered by an attempted information link. And the client right here, I can tell that 192.168.5.200 is my client, and that's the one that caused this, and it was going to this particular server here, and the action that was done. And right behind me, you won't be able to see on this graph, but you can tell that it used port 80. So I can tell what is going on very quickly. So let me remove that and go back to the main one. So now, since I'm back here, let me go to messages. I'll be able to tell messages in real time of exactly what is going on. And by the log severity here, as you can see, I have a bunch of warnings in this screen, and the IP address, the host that generated it, and what generated it. This cannot be any better, guys. If you want to know what's going on in your network, this is as detailed as it can be. So this is just the alerts tab. Oh, we do have the threats tab here. Let's go through this, because I think this is very important. You need to know what you're signing up for before you start implementing it. In the threats here, public threats, I have one. This is a public threat. This happens to be Apple. I know that because I triggered this threat. And then I can come and see what are the at-risk servers. What is going on here. Here are my clients that are high risk and the count of the risks. So if you're in an environment, a production environment, you want to see what is really going on. This is something you want to be paying attention to. Here's a list of clients that are causing trouble. In at-risk services, what services are really being targeted, or what services are at risk, are triggering these alerts. And here, as you can see, I have HTTP, of course, UDP, and all these ports here, including DNS. So you want to look at that. Then high-risk clients. This is now getting granular. And here are the high-risk clients. Here are the number of risks. So as you can see, 192.168.5 to 52. I really need to check it out and see what is happening. I know what I was doing with Nmap here. That's why these are showing here. And this is not just these security events that you can see. My favorite one, I won't show you everything, but this is my favorite one you have to see, is flaws. I mean, this is amazing. Look at all these flaws by services. So as you can see, This just gives me an overview in the last 3 hours of all the flows, but I can tell something was happening right here. Look at all these alerts that were triggered. So if you are, as if it's not enough, it shows me what is happening here. You can see the talkers here, and this can show you sort of like activity over time. So you can see, oh, what was happening there, what was happening here by protocols. And if you go to SunKey, this is a visual representation of what's going on. As you can see here, I have 192.168.5.40 going to 75, 75, 76. That is my domain controller going to the internet. In addition to that, you can also see the raw logs. I mean, who doesn't want to see exactly what is going on in real time in raw format? So that's what we have, and a lot more. I won't be showing you everything here, but so how do we set it up? Why would we set it up and how? Well, first of all, you need to grab this guide here, how to install Suricata IDS in Linux, in this case Ubuntu. I was going to write my own, but we already have one here. I'm doing enough making this video, so I might as well forward you to something that is well written. And here is some instructions that you can follow. In fact, we're going to follow these ones. Copy and paste these straight into our machine, and I'll show you that there's no gimmicks here. So that's what we're going to be using. Then after, we'll use these graphs here to actually set it up and get the data and be able to see the way I was showing you. Then the architecture. We have a firewall. We're not interacting with our firewall today. This is first number one. How do we deal with this? Okay, firewall here is connected to a switch. This could be a Cisco Meraki firewall. This could be a pfSense firewall. It doesn't matter. We just happen to have a layer 3 switch for spanning. So somehow you need to be able to get a copy of the traffic. Okay, so here's the architecture, guys. I'm monitoring this interface right here. This is called the LAN interface, local area interface. And this interface here, I'm taking a copy of this traffic. And this copy of the traffic, I'm sending it to my intrusion detection system. Point to note here, why am I taking a copy and why am I not just analyzing it inline? It's because I don't have enough resources and I don't want to tamper with the flow of the network. So I'm just grabbing a copy of it and letting it flow. So I'm not preventing anything from coming in. I'm just detecting it. So we implemented an intrusion detection system. If you go to your simple Google search, if you're using VirtualBox and you say VirtualBox mirror port, you'll see that the first two results here are my videos. And I show you how to span traffic both in VMware, if you're using VMware ESXi, or I also show you how to use VMware Workstation and VirtualBox. So if you just Google how to span traffic on your platform, you should be able to create a span port. And if you have any issues, let me know in the comments. I'll be able to show you how to do it. So that's the first part, is we need to mirror the traffic from our switch. We're using a switch this time. We're not interfering with the firewall. If you're using pfSense, there is a way to mirror traffic in pfSense. No problem. All right, so now that we know we are mirroring to the traffic, where are we sending it? I'm sending it in my machine here. I have a machine called Suricata. In this case, I'm going to be demonstrating it's running on Ubuntu 18 something. And in fact, this is the machine right here. I can SSH into here. So I can say IPA. And there we go. So how do we deploy this machine? Because it's very important. If you're doing IPA here, you see that I have two interfaces. I have this interface with IP address of 81, and I have a second interface with the IP of 67. So let me show you these interfaces right here in VMware. This is the same as in VirtualBox and other platforms. You just give this machine two interfaces. And while we're still here, we have 2 CPU, 4 gigs of memory. Suricata is very sensitive with memory. If you give it more than 4 gigs, you're going to have some buffer problems. That means you might need to tweak it further. So to prevent problems, give it 4 gigs if you have it. The hard drive, I only have 40 here because I'm not keeping any logs locally. I'm forwarding them straight to our Elastic SIEM. And then I have these 2 network adapters. But as you can see here, my 2 network adapters are connected to one normal VM network. Then the second one is a mirror network. What is this mirror network? I mirrored the traffic from my switch. In this case, I'm using Cisco Meraki. This is the switch that I'm using. You don't need a Cisco Meraki switch. They're too expensive for a lab, but if you're running Meraki in your production, this is awesome. Use Cisco Meraki switch, and as you see here, what I have is my uplink. This is the uplink that is going to the internet, to the firewall, and then I am actually connecting that to port number 8. This port here is mirrored to this one, and all you need to do is to mirror ports in here, check one and say mirror, and choose another one that's open and add a port, and off you go. So we are mirroring traffic here. All right, I created a new mirror switch just by going to action, new mirror. If you haven't done this, watch my other video that I showed you here, which is this one, how to span or port to a virtual machine. I show you how to do that. That is if you're using VMware. And after that, all my traffic is just coming in, no problem. So it's going to hit my machine here. So now that this machine is ready to receive traffic, which is a copy of my LAN to WAN traffic, how do we set it up with Suricata? And that's where this machine comes to place. So we need to install Suricata here. And to install Suricata, all we need to do is, I value your time and I value my time. So let me show you how you are going to install this Suricata. If you follow this guide step by step, you are going to get the same results as me. Here is a Medium article that was written for Alibaba Cloud. Follow everything here and read what is in here. You're going to follow all the way up to make install right here. Then you see this output here. Then let's run make install conf. So I'm going to speed up everything, run everything above there. I'm expecting you should. If you follow the instructions that I've showed you and everything is right, if you run a ls etc suricata rules, you should see all these rules in here. If you have any issues following that guide, let me know in the comments. But when you install your Suricata according to those, you should have all these rules here in your etc suricata rules. All right. Next, we need to install FileBit on this Ubuntu machine so that we can ship the logs. So we're going to quickly install FileBit, then I'll show you both the configuration for Suricata and FileBit to send the logs to Logstash. And that's what we're doing here. FileBit is our shipper, so we are going to run these two commands here, the curl and the deb. And we have installed FileBit before, but I'll show you here very quickly. And when it's done, let's run it again. Now we're unpacking our FileBit, and since it's doing that, here are the instructions that we always follow. Then we need to configure FileBit, and this is the most important thing. We need to configure our inputs and our output. So let's go to cd/etc/FileBit ls, and here's our FileBit.yaml. So let's vi FileBit.yaml. This is where we're going to tell FileBit where to send the logs. And right now, I'll show you a quick way to cheat. We're going to be using his FileBit. Since this is the graph that we are after, we're going to be saying, okay, type log true path var log suricata if.json. This is all we need. So let's copy this for the path and come in here, and type is log enabled path here var log suricata if.json. I'll show you where that location is, and I'll show you what it looks like when it has data. Okay, but we're not done. You see, here's a fields event type Suricata, so we need to go in there and add this as well. All right, so this looks good. So once we have that, next we just need to go to our output. So in fact, we are not using Elasticsearch, so let's comment it out. We're outputting it to Logstash. So output.elasticsearch is commented out. Let's also comment the host. Right. Our real output is going to be in Logstash. So if you look here, output.logstash host. So that's all we need, the host name in there. output the log stash and the host. And we're going to put our host name where our log stash is. And this is our SIEM machine that I've created in video number 1 in this series. Our elastic SIEM, so 192.168.5.71. And voila, we leave the port the same. Escape, save. So that's what we need in Firebit. Let's test, make sure that Firebit is running. systemctl start Firebit. And if we have any issues with Firebit, it will fail, or you can test sometimes. Let's do a status. There it is. It's running and it's trying to connect to our machine. All right, so that is Firebit for us. So let's go back to Suricata. So if you go to cd/etc/Suricata, if you're not already in there, if you do an ls in here, here's what you see, right? We have some rules in here. If you go to cd rules, here are the rules. Okay, so we know that our rules are in here. etc Suricata rules. If we come back here, we have suricata.yaml. That's our file that we need to edit. So vi suricata.yaml. In here, the one thing that you need to do is, if your home network is not specified here, make sure it is. If you want to be very specific about your network, remove everything and leave the actual network subnet that you have. I have a /24, and mine, the one that for this sensor is going to be part of is in the 5. So that's my home net. All right, then the next thing that we need to change here is make sure that this interface doesn't say ETH0 if yours is not ETH0. So let's go back and find out what our interface is. So if I say IPA, our interface that we need to monitor is ENS192. So let's go back in there and replace everywhere where it says ETH0 with ENS192. So if we ever decide to do pickup, so ENS192. Okay, now we need to enable the rules. So to do that, we just need to search rule-files. And right now it's pointing to Suricata rules. So that's what we might be running, because that's the default rules. If you want to change those to something else, please feel free to do so. But for now, I'm going to leave it here. Okay, now we need to change one more thing. You see this one saying our rules are in varlib Suricata rules. Oh, ours are not in there. Ours are in etc Suricata rules. So let's fix that. But these are both locations that you can. So ours are in etc Suricata rules. Escape. Okay, so once your Suricata is done and it's running on your machine, like mine here, we need to go to our Elastic SIEM solution, and this is the easy part. Right, on our Elastic SIEM solution, you need to go to, we already have Logstash installed here. We installed it in video number 1. So you need to go to cd/etc/logstash, right, ls. So in here, what I want you to do is, you see this Suricata, Synlight Suricata. So make that directory, and name it this, right? And once you make that directory, you need to make sure that this contents here that is in here, you get it from, let me show you. This is where we get this specific. So you need to make sure that that directory that I just showed you matches this one. So all these things that are in here, conf directories and stuff like that, is you need to make sure that it's in your etc logstash location, and all these are in here. You can clone this and bring it in here. I don't care. Just make sure that it ends up in here. cd conf d, and in here, what we need to do is let's vi 10. Let's make sure that everything in here is set up to our liking. we didn't change anything here. As you can see, we're going to leave everything like that. And then let's VI 20. These are our inputs. And in here, we're also going to leave everything the same way. We're not messing with that file. Then let's do an ls one more time. This is the output.kibana. This is our output.elasticsearch 30 tab. And the reason why we use logstash is because this is where all the magic happens. This is where all the indexing happens. So let's do a vi 30 underscore and tab. And in here, our goal is, this is the only place we need to change, right? Leave everything the same except for this IP address here. Put this to your own IP address. Put this to your own IP address. And that's all I changed in here. So again, make sure that in your etc logstash, you have this file here, SceneLight, and you get that from this website. And that's very important. And once you have everything in here, you also want to make sure that you follow these steps here, and I will show you. They're all outlined here, but I'm showing you what you need to do. First, you need to edit your elasticsearch.yaml and add this line. I'll show you how. So we can locate .yaml if you forgot where it is, and here it is. So now that we found it, let's copy and vi elasticsearch.yaml, and in here, it doesn't really matter where you do it. I did that at the end here. You see this line? Indices, query, book, whatever. He says to edit, so I edit that at the end. And once you're done, save. All right, so we follow the first part. In logstash, FileBit, we made this change in FileBit. So if you haven't, make sure to follow this as well. This is very important. We need to change the heap for java.options for logstash. So we need to change these heap sizes here. Otherwise, it will not work to 4 gigs. So let's go back to our logstash and find that. cd/etc/logstash ls. So that is the Java stuff. jvm.options, vi jvm.options. And you see these two numbers here? You need to change that. And that's exactly what they're talking about here. So I showed you. Change that. Escape. They'll be set to 2 gigs. Change them to that. Okay, so next, it talks about updating the plugin. I figured that the plugin is in the latest version anyway, so I'm not going to bother with this one, but you can if you do that. So we need to copy it to this location, logstash system.d. Okay, it's a folder, so let's do that. cd. So the folder that we need to copy is that. Next, it talks about copying this to logstash.serviced. So let's find out where our logstash.serviced is. Locate.service. Right, so here is our logstash.serviced. All right, it's already in there, so which is awesome. All right, now we need to detail our pipeline to use this. So let's go and create that etc logstash pipeline.yaml. This is the most involved. pi/logstash. Actually, we're going to pipelines.yaml. Pipelines.yaml, and guess what? So we need to copy that in here. So it says here we need to copy pipeline ID into that. And guess what? We already have it in there. So if you don't have this in here, make sure to copy it in here and make sure that it's working. escape, quit. All right, so here are a few things that we need to make sure. You need to make sure that you have logsearch.service.d, and inside logsearch.service.d you have this full directory. If you don't have it, create it and copy this configuration file in it. That's what I'm saying here. And make sure that all these things work. The easiest way is to make sure that you have this SIEM-shell. This is just going to run the environment variables. And as you can see, you can just copy these and run them. But you can also just run that whole folder to set all the environment variables, and they'll be set. So make sure that you have also ran these environment variables. Depending on your environment, you might want to just have a profile D location and run it. And this is what you have for your environment variables. And these are very important. If you don't set them up properly, you have troubles. So I just went through somebody's documentation and showed you how to use it. But if you have any questions, just come in here and look at this. And Rob Court has a channel, a YouTube channel, and he will show you how to get this done as well. All right, so once you have everything that he says here, the last part that you need to do is just set up our Kibana. So the best way to do this with Kibana is just open this because it's already set up for you. If you say roll, right click, save as, and save. This will save to your desktop. And next you just need to go to your Elastic SIEM. Let's cancel that. Go to your Elastic SIEM. Mine already has it, but I'll show you where to go to edit. You go to your stack management, saved objects. In here, you want to do an import. You'll be able to import it. And once you import it, the next thing that you need to do is go back here, systemctl start log stash. And once your log stash runs for a little bit, your logs should show up in your Elasticsearch. But let me show you. This is what you do to make sure that it's running properly. Status log stash. And when it's running properly, you should see something like this with the name. And in fact, I'm having an error that says it could not index something. I still need to figure out what the error is, but this is how you're able to tell if it's running or not. And logs in there, if you cannot find your logs into your Elastic SIEM, this is what you do. Just come here and say TCP dump and specify your interface on port 5044. You want to see, are you getting the logs from your Suricata environment? And if you do this, you wait, you'll be able to see whether or not you're getting logs. And if you're getting logs, this is what you start seeing. This shows that you're getting logs. If this doesn't happen on your ELK SIEM machine, your Suricata is not sending the logs. So this is how you're able to tell. So that's how you set this up. Next, you just come to your Kibana here. If you go to your dashboard, so when you come here, you go to dashboard. Now you want to say Suricata alerts. Let's just choose this one for messages. This is going to take you to a synesis diagram. And if you go to the alerts at home here, you'll be able to see all your alerts, pretty diagrams, and it will show you everything that I just showed you. Kind of evolved. If you need help, please reach out to me. I'll be able to help you. Otherwise, I hope this may have been informative for you. Please consider subscribing, liking my videos. Let me know in the comments if you succeed or if you fail. I'll be happy to help. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.